Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. What do you say we take a trip? Today we're going to travel down the path of self-improvement. And on our virtual stroll, we're also going to talk about leadership. Now, if you listen to Newsgram, then you know it's not going to be a traditional path, but I believe we should never stop learning, and we should never stop trying to better ourselves. I also think that leadership takes on various forms. It's all about where you are in life and what you choose as your particular destiny. You clicked on this episode and probably had no idea how enlightened you were about to become. But today is a very special day because you're about to hear from General Brent Baker. He spent 37 years in the United States Air Force. The first 6 were as an enlisted man, and then he transferred over to officer training.
That's what they call a Mustang.
You know how many people do that? Become what's called a Mustang by transitioning from enlisted man to officer and then general officer? Not many. It's less than 1%.
A lot of officers either go like to the Air Force Academy, they go to the ROTC program, ROTC, a lot of people know that. But I went from the enlisted side to the officer side, and that's where the name Mustang comes from. I'm very proud I was a Mustang.
He retired as a major general, which means there were 2 stars on each shoulder. And the reason I'm sharing all this background with you is because you need to know who is giving you advice today. It's someone you can respect. Because in life, as well as in the military, leadership is something that's very important. He explains all this in his new book, Orders from the General, Leadership Advice from a 2-Star General.
That's part of the inspiration really for writing my book is I've kind of been a lifelong student of leadership, and I wanted to make sure that I kind of offered all my experiences to folks as well.
The subtitle is Rise Above, Use a Military Mindset for Success in Any Field. And this is what drew me to the book. I just love this kind of advice because we aren't all taught the same way. We all have different backgrounds and we grow up in different ways. But when you join the military, there's a very specific type of training. Whether or not that style is for you is a personal decision, but there's a great deal of wisdom to be gained from the men and women who served. On a side note, have you ever read the book Make Your Bed? Little Things That Can Change Your Life and Maybe the World? You've probably heard about it. Admiral McRaven did the commencement speech in 2014 for the graduating class of the University of Texas at Austin. It went viral. It got something like 10 million views. And then it became a book. And the point is, he offered timeless wisdom that we can all use in our daily lives. General Brent Baker has taken that a step further.
It's written, I feel like, in kind of an easy-to-read style. And it's built around, I call it leadership advice or leadership examples. And I think a lot of people will be able to read that and understand it. It will resonate with them. And the other thing, too, I've written it to try to be timeless. These leadership principles or pieces of advice that I offer are kind of timeless leadership traits that I've observed and picked up through the years. So those are a couple of things I think that really makes it really unique. And the other thing, I really try, even though a lot of it is based on my time in the military, I tried to write it in such a fashion that regardless of what walk of life you're in, you would be able to understand and use these principles.
In the book, he asks some important questions that cause you to look inside yourself. Like, for example, what is your particular leadership style? Write it down, and then ask a few others what they think your leadership style is, and see if they match. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but you'll definitely learn something. Life does keep us busy, but we need to take time out for a little self-evaluation. It doesn't take long, and knowing who you are and knowing the kind of people you want to surround yourself with is very important.
We are all leaders in some form or fashion, whether you're just leading yourself, you're leading your family, maybe you're in a church organization, but you're a leader. And I used to tell my children, I have 4 kids, that you're either leading or somebody most likely is leading you. I always ask them to kind of think about that situation. Are you the leader or are you being led?
Chapter 3 is so simple you're going to laugh, but it's also very powerful. Be positive. The power of positive thinking is more important than you can possibly imagine. Now, he's not talking about living life with rose-colored glasses on, but it's about how your glass-half-full mentality can work to your advantage when things aren't going so well. He also talks about the importance of communication and the challenges we face in getting our message across clearly to the entire team. And you also need to understand that you are always being observed.
people remember probably like maybe 5% of what you say, but they remember 100% of what you do.
So lead by example. And while you're at it, examine your priorities. That's chapter 5, where he uses a quote by one of my favorite people, Dolly Parton. She's a national treasure. The quote is, "Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life." Now, that one stung a little bit, but it's true. Do you rank your priorities you, your family, and then the job? Just saying, we tend to put the job first. There's a lot of great advice here, and some of it you probably heard before, but he backs it all up with really good examples of why these things are important. He also says the little things mean a lot.
I cannot express that enough. Like when I was the commander at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan, it was a very huge assignment with all kinds of responsibilities. But if you would go back and ask people that served with me at the time, they would remember me for like writing personal handwritten notes, or maybe sending a note to one of their kids who made the A or B honor roll in school. And, I started learning at that point in my life that people really remember the little things that you do a lot more than they remember the big things.
The power of the handwritten note. You know how many times I've been told to do that and how easy it is to move on to other things? Take a minute. Write the note. Take the survey once in a while. They matter. Or post that positive review. Here, I'll get you started. Newsgram changed my life. Sam is a tremendous host. I'm kidding, but you know how exciting it is for a shop owner or an employee to see a review online that mentions them personally? And to read how thankful someone is for something you've done. You just thought it was part of your job to direct them to the canned peas or process their refund or help them find their size, but the result is priceless. If I knew your address, I'd send you a letter right now saying thank you for listening this far into the podcast. Maybe it's my sparkling personality, or more likely, the General has struck a chord, and you're trying to decide if this book is for you. It is.
I actually think if you aspire to higher levels of responsibility in, I'll call it your organization, sports or church or the military or, software or industry, I think the leadership tips are very interesting and very relevant. And I think, again, it's not prescriptive, but I think people will look at it and say, well, how do I think about this situation? So I think it really can apply to anyone that's aspiring really to be just a better person.
Orders from the General. Leadership advice from a 2-star general. Straightforward, no-nonsense leadership advice from a man who leads by example. It's available now on Amazon, Exlibris, or wherever you like to shop for books. And that will do it for this edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.